happy Friday. Welcome back to the vlog. So, update first. I am currently working on reading Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This will be for prompt 4 of the readathon, which is The Enchanted Forest, I do believe. I think. Where am I at? No, this is for prompt 4, I do believe, for the Goblin Market on the map. So I'm working on that. I'm only on chapter 3, but I will say one thing I love about TJ Klune is he always creates like the main character to where you don't like him in the beginning. But I know that that's so he can give him a redemption arc. But I really don't like this guy. So far, not a big fan. Wallace. He's a lawyer and he's kind of a jerk to his employees and probably to his clients, that kind of thing. But I am sure he will be redeemed. All will be redeemed in time. I don't know if you guys know what that book's about. Basically, Wallace dies and he is reaped at his funeral, and then goes and he meets Hugo, who is going to take him to the other side, whatever that other side is. But in that time frame, he gets to spend a little bit more time living a life that he didn't get to live before. So we'll see. It's cute. I like the cover of this book. So whimsical. So whimsical. My next thing is I promised you guys a book haul at least twice in the last vlog, and I apologize I didn't do that. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do that now. I have 3 little stacks here. One is a stack of books I bought while I was in Chicago. One is a book that I got at Half Price Books, along with my most recent book of the month pick. And then the other one are the ones I picked up book shopping over the weekend at Neighborhood Reads. Let's get started, well, shall we? Okay, so in Chicago, Justin and I went to Unabridged Books. If you Google that, it's like falls in like the #1 independent bookstore in Chicago, and I knew I was only gonna get to go to one. So we went to Unabridged Books in Chicago and I grabbed 3 books. I grabbed Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jesse Q. Sutanto. It sounds so good, and anybody that has read this, I've heard wonderful things. So basically, a lonely shopkeeper takes it upon herself to solve a murder in the most peculiar way in this captivating mystery from Jesse Q. Sutanto, best-selling author of Dial A for Aunties. So Vera Wong is a lonely little lady of a certain age who lives above her forgotten tea shop in the middle of San Francisco's Chinatown. Despite living alone, Vera is not needy. Oh no, she likes nothing more than sipping on a good cup of oolong and doing some healthy detective work on the internet about what her Gen Z son is up to. Then, one morning, Vera trudges downstairs to find a curious thing, a dead man in the middle of her tea shop. In his outstretched hand is a flash drive. Vera doesn't know what comes over her, but after calling the cops like any good citizen would, she sort of swipes the flash drive from the body and tucks it safely into the pocket of her apron. Why? Because Vera is sure she will do a better job than the police possibly can. Nobody sniffs out a wrongdoer quite like a suspicious Chinese mother with time on her hands. Vera knows the killer will be back for the flash drive. All she has to do is watch the increasing number of customers at her shop and figure out which one among them is the killer. What Vera does not expect is to form friendships with her customers and start to care for her each and every one of them. As a protective mother hen, will she end up having to give one of her newfound chicks to the police? Little old lady takes murder into her own hands. This I've heard wonderful things about. I'm excited to read it. So then I picked up Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake, another book that I have heard absolutely wonderful things about. Everybody that has read this has said it is one of the best queer romances I've read. So it says, Delilah Green swore she would never go back to Bright Falls. Nothing is there for her but memories of a lonely childhood in which she was little more than a burden to her cold and distant stepfamily. Her life in New York with her photography career finally gaining steam and her bed never empty. Sure, there's a different woman in it every night, but that's just fine with her. When Delilah's estranged stepsister Astrid pressures her into photographing her wedding with the guilt trip and a 5-figure check, Delilah finds herself back in the godforsaken town that she used to call home. She plans to breeze in and out, but when she sees Claire Sutherland, one of Astrid's stuck-up besties, and decides that maybe there's some fun and a little retribution to be had in Bright Falls after all. Having raised her 11-year-old daughter mostly on her own while dealing with her unreliable ex and running a bookstore, Claire Sutherland depends upon a life without surprises, and Delilah Green is an unwelcome surprise at first. Though they've known each other for years, they don't really know each other, so Claire is unsettled when Delilah figures out exactly what buttons to push. When they are forced together during the gauntlet of wedding preparations, including a plot to save Astrid from her horrible fiance, Claire isn't sure she has the strength to resist Delilah's charms. Even worse, she's starting to think she doesn't want to. This looks so cute. Like, look at them. They're so cute. So I'm excited to read that one as well. So then I grabbed Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn because we're going to be doing a buddy read of this trilogy. And I mean, I picked it up because look at the cover. Look at the cover. And also, it's so floppy. We love a good flop. So this is once a hero arose to save the world, he failed. Ever since the world has been a wasteland of ash and mist controlled by the immortal emperor known as the Lord Ruler. But hope survives. A new uprising is forming, one built around the ultimate caper, the cunning of a brilliant criminal mastermind, and the determination of an unlikely heroine, a street urchin who must learn to master the power of a Mistborn. I'm excited. We're doing a buddy read of this, I think in like September or something on the Discord. And I've been wanting to read this series. And when I saw the cover of this, I was like, I can't not get it. I'm gonna have to read it anyway, right? So then here's hoping that when I get to the second and the third books, if I want to continue the series, I can find these covers, because I feel like this is the first time I've ever seen this cover. And they had the other two, but I was like, I don't really want to buy all of them yet. What if I don't like it? So I'm hoping I'll be able to find this cover and the floppiness. So then when I went to Half Price Books last week, I grabbed Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I've been wanting to buy this, been wanting to pick this up. I mean, look at this book. Like, this isn't even an Illumicrate or a Fairy Loot. It's just got lovely sprayed edges and they're dragons. I mean, who doesn't love a dragon? So this book says, ooh, see, I didn't even know that. It's got a map. Enter the brutal and elite world of a war college for dragon riders. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, also known as her tough as Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter, like Xaden Riorson, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader of the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet, with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, the kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers. Everyone at Basgaith War College has an agenda, because once you enter, there are only two ways out: graduate or die. So yes, I've heard wonderful things about this book as well, which is why I grabbed it, but plus, I mean, dragons. What else can I say? There's dragons. I honestly don't know if I have ever read a fantasy book that has dragons. I'd have to really think about it, because I've read a lot of fantasy books, but I'd have to really, really think about it. And then when I went to Neighborhood Reads on Saturday, I picked up two books. One was When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. I was waiting for this to come out in paperback because I just like... So this says, fierce, feminist, and funny. So more dragons. A fantasy about dragons. So clearly I have a thing about dragons. Alex Green lives in a world much like ours, except for its most seminal event, the mass dragoning of 1955, when hundreds of thousands of women that sprouted wings, scales, and talons and took to the skies. Was it their choice? What became of those left behind? Why did Alex's beloved Aunt Marla transform, but her mother did not? Alex doesn't know. It's taboo to speak of. In this timely and timeless speculative novel, award-winning author Kelly Barnhill boldly explores rage, memory, and the tyranny of forced limitations. When Women Are Dragons exposes a world that wants to keep women small, their lives and their prospects, and examines what happens when they begin to take up the space they deserve. Feminism. I'm very excited. I've heard good things about this one too. Everything I've bought, I've heard good things about. And then I picked up Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I have her other book that I just got from Fairy Loot, and I hadn't read this, but I've heard good things about this. And I also just really like stories like this. Like I like stories. So this says, every 7 years the Agon begins. As punishment for a past rebellion, 9 Greek gods are forced to walk the earth as mortals. They are hunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines, all eager to kill a god and seize their divine power and immortality. Long ago, Lore Perseus fled that brutal world, turning her back on the hunt's promises of eternal glory after her family was murdered by a rival line. For years, she's pushed away any thought of revenge against the man, now a god, responsible for their deaths. Yet, as the next hunt dawns over New York City, 2 participants seek her out. Castor, a childhood friend Lore believed to be dead, and Athena, one of the last of the original gods, now gravely wounded. The goddess offers an alliance against their mutual enemy and a way to leave the Agon behind forever. But Lore's decision to rejoin the hunt, binding her fate to Athena's, will come at a deadly cost, and it may not be enough to stop the rise of a new god with the power to bring humanity to its knees. I love stories about gods and Greek, Romans, and like I love the Odyssey, and I love Greek gods, and I love reading about like Olympians, and so yes, I love like all of that kind of stuff. So I'm sure I will enjoy this as soon as I get to deep dive into it. And then last but not least, my book from Book of the Month this month is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Miki Brammer. It says, death, she gets it, it's life. She can't quite figure it out. It says, from the day she watched her kindergarten teacher drop dead during a dramatic telling of Peter Rabbit, Clover Brooks has felt a stronger connection with the dying than she has with the living. After the beloved grandfather who raised her dies alone while she is traveling, Clover becomes a death doula in New York City, dedicating her life to ushering people peacefully through their end-of-life process. Clover spends so much time with the dying that she has no life of her own, until the final wishes of a feisty old woman send Clover on a road trip across the country to uncover a forgotten love story and perhaps her own happy ending. As she finds herself struggling to navigate the uncharted waters of romance and friendship, Clover is forced to examine what she really wants and whether she'll have the courage to go after it. Probing, clever, and hopeful, The Collected Regrets of Clover turns the normally taboo subject of death into a reason to celebrate life. This one I think will be good. It looks kind of short compared to some other Book of the Month books I've gotten. It's only, I say only, hold please. It is 310 pages, and I have a feeling it's gonna be deep. It's gonna be deep. It's gonna get me in my feels. I'll have to be prepared for this one, I suppose. So there you go. There's the book haul I promised you forever ago. Sorry about that. So I am currently sprinting with some of my Discord people, their productivity sprints. So I went this morning with my dad and my aunt. My dad is moving, hopefully, closer to me and my aunt. My aunt lives about 3 or 4 or 5 stoplights that direction, so it's not very far. And so my dad is looking to move closer because he lives about a good 20 minutes away from us and he needs to move. I went and did some house hunting with them this morning, and we had lunch together. It was nice. It was just the 3 of us, and so that was enjoyable. It hasn't been just the 3 of us in a while, so it's nice. So I am going to get back to work. I'm gonna send some emails. I'm gonna sprint some more, and then maybe pick up Under the Whispering Door for a little bit, try to get further into it. I'm also still listening to The Dragon's Promise, like I told you I would be, because that was only 2 days ago. And I haven't gotten that much farther into it. I haven't been in the car long enough. I really should start listening to books when I get home, but when I get home, it's like, there's too much to do, and I just want to read. There's that. So if you guys are having a good day, and I will be sure to catch up with you in a bit. Bye. Hey, besties.
Hi, duties.
Happy Saturday. So I am sitting here, as you can see, with Cadence. And I'm drinking my coffee in my little Honey Dukes cup. And I wanted to kind of give you guys an update. Today, Cadence and I are going to lunch.
Yeah, and I packed all my good stuff.
All our stuff. And we're going to go have lunch with some family and then gonna come back here and hang out.
What?
You okay? Charlie is having a friend stay the night, so I'm gonna order pizza, hang out, and then we're gonna go and volunteer at like this Twilight run that is in Ferguson. But I wanted to give you guys an update on Under the Whispering Door. I'm almost 100 pages in and I'm really enjoying it. I'm also really struggling, wondering how Wallace is going to get a redemption arc, because I really don't like him right now. He's just kind of snarky and sarcastic and mean, and I get it. He died and he's got a lot of feelings about it and he doesn't want to be dead, and I get that. But it's like, at what point do you start listening to the people around you where they're telling you this is what's going to happen, this is what you're dealing with, trying to answer your questions, things of that nature. I will also say that I really like Hugo, who is the tea shop owner that's between life and death. I love Hugo. I love May, and I also really love Nelson. And Nelson is Hugo's grandfather, and he is also at the tea shop, but he is also dead. So he's trying to talk to Wallace, but he's also very funny. He likes to hit people with his cane. He's very snarky and sarcastic, and I just really like Nelson. And there's also a ghost dog. His name is Apollo, and he is very cute. Something that I really enjoyed about this last night while I was reading it is TJ Klune brought up in his writing Kubler-Ross, who is the one who came up with like the different stages of grief. So Hugo brings up the psychologist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and I studied her, you know, obviously as a psychology student would, and she's the one that came up with the different stages of grief. And so the stages of grief, if you are not sure, the Kubler-Ross model is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And it doesn't always come in that order, and it doesn't always come quickly, and sometimes you can go back and forth, and it's all very real, and it's like it's the stages of grief. And so the belief is that at some point throughout all of this, you're gonna feel all of these things when someone you love dies or something, animals, kids, things of that nature, right? And so Hugo is talking to Wilson about the stages of grief, and he's basically saying, and Wilson says, isn't that for the living? You know, like, that doesn't sound like it's for the dead. That sounds like it's for the living. He says, of course you can. We do it all the time, regardless of if we're alive or not, over the small things and the big things. Everyone is a little bit sad all the time. Yes, Kubler-Ross was talking about the living, but it fits just as well for people like you, maybe even better. I've often wondered what it was like for her after she passed, if she went through it all herself, or if there was a surprise left to find. And so right now, Wilson is angry. He's in denial. He's trying to bargain. And so he's trying to bargain and trying to make deals about going back to the living and all of these things. And so you're seeing that all play out. And it's playing out really interesting to me. Even though I think Wilson is a total twit right now, he is going through the process. And sometimes that's just all it takes. And I'm really enjoying Hugo as he attempts to get through to Wilson in regards to death, and either accepting it and trying to go through the door that he needs to go through, or whatever he needs. Like, Hugo is just helping him process it. And so I'm really enjoying it. And he just had a really nice talk with Nelson, who is, like I said, Hugo's granddad, who passed away a long time ago and is still in the tea shop. And Nelson is like, it's kind of nice to have someone else to talk to, you know? And so I have a feeling we're going to have a nice little found family here with May, who is a reaper, Hugo, who's the ferryman who ferries souls across, Nelson, who is Hugo's grandfather, Apollo, who is the dog, and then Wilson. So we'll see what happens. I'm not convinced. Like, right now, Wilson's like, I'm not going through that door. I'm not doing anything. You can't make me do anything. He's talking lawsuits and stuff. He is a lawyer. So it kind of makes sense, but I am really enjoying it. It does make me smile. I'm mostly, I am tabbing it, but I'm mostly just tabbing the like quotes I like, that I love, some sad moments, and then the funny stuff. And most of the funny stuff happens with Nelson. So any which way, but I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on that. I'm going to try to get as far as I can before I leave for lunch. And then I'm gonna try to read later before the Twilight run, 5K that we're going to go support. And then tonight after we get home, because, you know, I got 2 teenagers staying in my house. They're gonna be loud. So we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys are having a really great Saturday, and I will catch up with you later. Bye.
Running from all things at once without thinking twice. And I knew it would catch up and that we would be the ones left behind. The stories I've been told, they never seem to leave my mind. And this road that I am on, I gotta stay here for some time.
Hi guys, happy Monday. So have you ever been like talking about a book or explaining a book to somebody and you realize that you have been saying the character's name wrong the whole time after the fact? Yeah, that was me. I was calling Wallace from Under the Whispering Door Wilson in my last update. I think it was because Nelson, Wallace. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. His name is Wallace, not Wilson. And I'm not going to go back and edit that. I am not going to go back and re-record it. Nope. You're just going to have to hear him be called Wilson there at the beginning when really his name is Wallace. Lord help me. Okay, so I am almost halfway through Under the Whispering Door. I'm gonna try to get some reading in today along with working from home. Justin and I have to go do a little bit of grocery shopping this morning, but right now he's at a doctor's appointment, and so when he gets back, him and I will go grocery shopping. And then, yeah, tonight's gonna be relatively quiet. I think I'm going to dinner with my dad. Me and Cadence are gonna go to dinner with my dad. Gonna go have some pizza. So hopefully, we've been house hunting for him and he just put in an offer. So right around the corner from me. So here's hoping that he gets the house that he wants and then he's right there. I'm a daddy's girl, so that's exciting for me. So yes, I am a little before halfway through on this book and I am really enjoying it. It has some, TJ Klune writes some of the best lyrically beautiful lines like I've ever read. Like, he's so unique and so creative, and his stories are always so unique and so creative. And if when I die, if I end up in a tea shop, I'll be happy. Like, I'll be very happy. We have Wallace, who has died, and he is working his way through it right now. He hasn't decided whether or not he's gonna go through the door to whatever fate lays ahead for him. But Nelson, Hugo's granddad, is trying to teach him how to not fall through the floor and not, you know, be able to touch chairs and touch things and do all of that, because Nelson knows how to do that. And so he's trying to teach Wallace how to do that as well. And Hugo is still running the tea shop and still hanging out with Wallace. I don't really know where that relationship is gonna go because Hugo is human and Wallace is a ghost. They've both admitted that they're pretty much, well, Wallace is bisexual and Hugo is gay. I don't know. Wallace does like to talk about how very handsome Hugo is. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. Wallace is becoming a little bit more tolerable, I think, as he's accepting the fact that he's dead. Hugo asked him if he had a good life, and he's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, did you have a good life? Did you live a good life? And he's like, well, I lived, because the truth is he wasn't married. He was alone a lot. He worked all the time. Like, there was no break. he wasn't nice to people. He put his job before everything else, and he admitted in here that he was lonely. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens, because I think Wallace is enjoying being around Apollo and May and Hugo for sure, and Nelson, even though Nelson drives him nuts. All right, well, there's that. So I'm going to hopefully wrap this one up quickly. It's a quick little read. Our next prompt is in the Enchanted Forest. So once I finish Under the Whispering Door, I'm hoping to start Wayward by Amelia Hart. So I'm getting a couple of mixed reviews from people who are reading this on the Discord. Some people really like it and say it's lyrically beautiful. Other people are like, wow, that was triggering and traumatizing. And other people are like, man, I don't like it. So I guess we'll find out, won't we? We'll find out together, you and me. I'm also still reading Matilda. That's a really quick read. I'm on chapter 3 or 4 of that one. And I think tonight, after the kids go to bed, I will read some more of that and try to power through that as well. All of my little magical books. That is really the only update I have for you. I don't think you have a whole lot from yesterday. Charlie had a friend stay the night on Saturday night, and then Sunday we went to church, dropped them off there because they go to church with us. And then we went to lunch, and then Justin and I went to my aunt's house, and Justin fixed her gate. And then we went to dinner and had some really good Mexican food. And then we came home. It was a pretty quiet night. So I don't know how much you have on Sunday. I really don't remember. And then today, like I said, working from home and reading and going grocery shopping and dinner tonight with my daddy. So that'll be good. All right. Well, I will quit yabbering on for no good reason whatsoever, and I will catch up with you guys later. Bye.
Time is gone and I grew up. I somehow made it through without losing sight. And I still wonder where you are, and if you found a way out from the dark. The stories I've been told, they never seem to leave my mind. On this road that I am on, I gotta stay here for some time.
Hey friends, happy Tuesday. So I have an update for you. I wanted to let you know that it's been a rough day. And it's emotionally rough, and I don't really even know why. I'm blaming PMS. If that's TMI for you, I'm sorry, but I am choosing to blame PMS. It's like everything I can have an emotional reaction to, I'm having an emotional reaction to. It is rough. So let's say, for an example, I'm having an emotional reaction to Cadence turning 6. How is she almost 6 years old? And she doesn't even turn 6 until the end of June. And I'm having an emotional reaction to the fact that my father just got approved for his house. And so he's working on getting everything set up for that. And I'm having an emotional reaction to my childhood home being sold. So it's these are not things I should be crazy upset about, but man, it's been a roller coaster of a day. With that being said, I did manage to finish Under the Whispering Door. And how I got through the end of this book without crying, considering how emotional my day has been, I don't know, but I managed it. I did it. And this book was everything. It was beautifully written. It was witty. It was heartbreaking. And I don't even know how to really explain it. TJ Klune just has such a way with these found family stories and redeemable characters, and just making certain characters in these books so lovable. You really, at the beginning of this book, you don't like the main character. He's a lawyer and he's a jerk and he's all of these things, but by the end of it you're like, he's not so bad. So yeah, I will say trigger warnings on this though, and TJ Klune is great about putting the trigger warning in the front of the book, but this does deal with suicide and their murder and death and what comes after death, and it's a lot of death. It's a lot of death. And so just some trigger warnings. If you're grieving currently over the loss of a loved one or something, I don't necessarily suggest picking this up. But if maybe you're like, maybe you want to have an idea of like what maybe you think is going on with death and all of that, you can pick this up. But I will say it's a different concept for sure than what you hear in like churches and things of that nature. So it is really good. It is 5 stars. I don't think I have read a single TJ Klune book that I haven't loved, and I've read 2. I will say this, I've read House on the Cerulean Sea and I've read this one, and if I had to pick, Cerulean Sea would still be number 1, but this would be number 1.5. Not even second spot, just 1.5. So yes, I loved everything about this story, and TJ Klune just has a great way of like sending you on a journey of even just some like self-discovery and how to make life worth living while you're living it, you know, and not waiting until death to enjoy life. It's a very interesting concept, and there's lots of throwbacks to the stages of grief and what that can look like for different people and how that can affect you in life and also in death. And Wallace is just, see, I got his name right this time. He figures it out, you know, and Hugo is just this really great guy who lives a life of a ferryman, and he's faced with death all the time and never really gets to live his own life, and finally does when he meets Wallace. And so it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting story. And again, it's a great little found family tale. So if you like found family stories, if you like fantasy, if you like TJ Klune, I highly suggest picking this up. It is really good. And it did take me a little while to read it because I read Cerulean Sea first, and I did not know how I would react to this one because I loved Cerulean Sea so much. But I'm really, really glad I read this one. I really am. I highly suggest picking it up. It's so good. It's so cute. It's just wonderful. So now for a completely different change of pace, I will be picking up Wayward by Amelia Hart. We're doing a buddy read of it on the Discord as well, and everybody that has read it has said it's really good, that it's intriguing, and that it's a great little story. But I've also seen mixed reviews of it other places, so I guess we'll find out together, won't we? Luckily, I don't really have any plans tonight, so maybe I can just hunker down and read and play with my kids. And they've got, each of them have 8 days left, 7 days after today left of school, so then it's summer vacation for them, and I will be working like 4 10-hour days so that I can have Fridays off to spend with them during the summer. So we'll see how it goes. Also, life update, if my lovely Charlie can get their grades up to where I need them to be before the end of the year, so they have 7 days, they will be moving to the basement. And Justin and I are in the process of remodeling the basement anyway, but it's going to be a work in progress, but they're willing to move down there while it's a work in progress because I think they want the space and they want the privacy, and they're at that age where it's like, okay, that's fine, we get it. And then I will take over their bedroom and we'll be turning it into an office/playroom. So if all goes according to plan, you guys can watch the room transformation in a couple weeks. So that'll be great. I'm excited for that, to have a little space to just work. Like, I'm working out in the middle of the living room right now when I'm working from home, and it's not really peaceful. Here's hoping that I can make the office work. There you have it. That's my update. My dad did find a house. He's going to be a couple blocks and around the corner from me, so that's nice. And yeah, again, it is sad that we have to sell the childhood home, but at the same time, like, I understand there's different motivations and reasons behind him moving, and I can't blame him for that. And the house is old. My childhood home is old, but it's still weird. It's still hard to know that pretty soon he's going to be like, I need you to come over, and this is the stuff I'm getting rid of, and if you want it, come get it. That'll be interesting to see how it goes, but you'll get to see some process if he's cool with me filming some process. See this? This is lip balm. I got it from Books A Million. It's mushrooms, but it doesn't taste like mushroom. It tastes like strawberries. It's my new lip balm. Sorry, I'm just yammering on. So yeah, I'm gonna finish up my work day, maybe read a little bit if I can, then I'm gonna go get Caden's, and I'm really hoping to finish up The Dragon's Promise either today or tomorrow, because I only have about 3 hours left, and if I can listen to it at home and listen to it at work, I should probably be able to power through. It's really good. That one's also really good. And I guess I said in an earlier vlog that it takes place under the water. Well, the first part of it takes place underwater. Now they're up on land, dealing with demons and all kinds of stuff. It's kind of intense. There's a lot going on in that book. And it definitely picks up right after Six Crimson Cranes ends. So there's no like waiting time. There's no, 6 months later, that kind of thing. But it's really good. I'm enjoying it. It's good to listen to as well. That's all I have for you. So I'm going to finish up my day here, and then I am going to head home and spend the evening with my family. So, all right, you guys have a good day. I will catch up with you later. Bye. Hi friends, welcome back to my office. Happy Wednesday, by the way. So I finished listening to The Dragon's Promise, and it was really good. Beautifully written, great little adventure, great storytelling, great plot line, great little love story. It was nice, it was good. I liked it a lot. I wasn't quite sure at the beginning where it was going, because I'm like, this is okay. But I'm glad it ended the way it did. It was a nice little bow to the top of the series. Currently, I am working my way through Wayward. I'm only about, I can look. I am currently on chapter 5, page 26. So I'm not very far into Wayward. And I will admit, when I read the second chapter, I was like, am I gonna be able to do this? Because trigger warning, abuse, domestic abuse. Trigger warning, I am going to keep going and see how it goes. So I'm gonna work my way through this probably today while I do some office stuff and take calls, and then yeah. Also, I had mentioned a while ago that my lovely Discord fam is doing a Friends Readathon, and that kicks off in June. So you saw a little bit last night. I started working on my journal entry for that, and I'm very excited. So I will have to get into all the prompts and stuff once I am talking to you about the books that I'm reading for said prompts. I'm also going to double check that it is okay that I mention the prompts and what I'm supposed to be reading for them, things of that nature. But lots of fun things are planned, and it's a competition. We're teaming up. Team Spaghetti. Off we go. So yeah, when I did the initial quiz, I was Rachel, and I stuck with it. That's fine. And my name on it is Daddy's Only Successful Daughter. And I don't mean that as a shot at my sister. I mean that as that's what Reese Witherspoon's character told Jennifer Aniston's character Rachel, is that their dad said that Rachel was their only successful daughter. So that's what I went with. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. It's anybody that got Joey and anybody that got Rachel were teamed up together, and then Monica and Chandler and Phoebe and Ross. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's a little map, there's ways to get extra points. They have all kinds of fun plans. So I'm excited. We're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna watch episodes of Friends, we're gonna chat. It's gonna be a good time. I think June's gonna be a good time because I have that readathon, and then for the whole month of June, and then there's a weekend in June that Liv's Library is doing like a fun summary readathon, and I found one book that matches all the prompts. So I will be reading Remarkably Bright Creatures which I'm sure will thrill my aunt and my friend Deb and everybody else that has read it, because they talk about how wonderful it is all the time. So I'm very, 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 very excited. So I will say I've started drinking these Alani energy drinks. I can thank Alexandra Roseland for that, but they're delightful. Like, and they're not a lot. It's like, it's a normal little like 12-ounce can, whereas my other energy drinks that I drink are bigger. And sometimes I do need that, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just need a little kick in the rear. I've started drinking these, and this one is the mimosa flavor, so delightful. It's actually really good, and it does kind of give you a boost of energy, which has been really hard for me to find because everything I drink doesn't do that for me anymore. Coffee doesn't really give me a boost of energy anymore. Other energy drinks weren't doing it, so we're gonna try these and see how it goes. So hey, Alani, if you want a spokesperson, hit me up. Just kidding, or maybe not. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to work. Like I said, I finished The Dragon's Promise, and I don't want to get too crazy into it because, like I said, it's the sequel. It's the final, like, it's a duology, so it's the final book in the series, and so it's 6 Crimson Cranes and then The Dragon's Promise, and I highly suggest both. They are really beautifully written and great little stories and really easy to read, actually. I listened to The Dragon's Promise, and the narrator was really good for that, so it was a good time. I had a good time. Lots of magic. We love a book with good magic, and it is good magic. So, all right, well, I am going to get back to work. I'm going to read a little bit. I'm gonna try to find another audiobook, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So, all right, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will catch up with you later. Bye. Hey besties, I wanted to hop on here and wrap up the vlog, but I also wanted to give you an update. I finished Wayward. So that means 3 books this vlog. Look at me go. This is a 5-star read. It was beautifully written, extremely emotional, heartbreaking, but also has a theme of power and taking back your power. It's very, very good. I will, however, say you should probably check the trigger warnings because there is a lot going on in this book. There's abuse, there's miscarriages, it's a lot. There's death. It's a lot. It's a little heavy, but it is good. I do like how each chapter was a different wayward woman's perspective. So it's like, at first it's hard to kind of keep up, but then you start getting into the flow and you figure out how they're all connected and how everybody in this little small town knows everybody else, and they're all the same, from all the same different branches of different family trees. And how you see, starts with Altha, who in 1619 is getting tried as a witch, and then it shows you Violet from the 1940s, and then it shows you Kate from 2019. It talks about relationships amongst family, it talks about relationships between moms and daughters, it talks about relationships between women and men. There are scenes of rape and other things in this. Sorry, my little Airwick thing decided to go off right as I was talking, but it is still really good. It is apparently a debut novel by Amelia Hart, and I'm pretty shocked that it's a debut novel because it is beautifully written. There are just, as heartbreaking and as sad as some of it is, it's like still really beautifully written about women taking back their power and making a name for themselves and doing things alone without the help from other people. And so it is really, really good. Like I said, you should probably check trigger warnings, and I highly suggest reading it, not reading it if like you're in a specific kind of mood, or reading something kind of light and fluffy after, maybe. I will say it was good. It was a 5-star read. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's a beautiful take on journeys and how we're all connected, and how something that happens in 1619 can very much affect you in 2019 and throughout your life, and how decisions that family members make can affect you as well, and how it all plays out and what gets left behind when you're gone. Like, there's, throughout the whole thing, there's a locket. There's a story about a locket through the whole thing, how it starts with Alpha, goes to Violet, and then goes to Kate. There's just all of these little themes throughout and how it all connects you. I suggest picking it up. It's good. There's a reason it's getting the reviews it's getting. So that is really the only update I have for you guys. I am wrapping up the vlog and I'm going to get this edited and out soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed by tomorrow morning. So yeah, that's really all I got for you. Hope you guys have had a really great week. I hope that things are going well. I hope that you're feeling okay. I hope that your health is in great condition. I hope you're reading really great books and all of those oh wonderful things. If you've made it this far into the vlog and you want to leave me an emoji, go ahead and leave me something foresty, like from Wayward. You could leave me a crow. There's also the theme of crows, mushrooms, bees, bugs, things of that nature. I will say there is a lot of bug talk, and I don't like bugs very much, but knowing that there was a lot of bug talk going into it and then understanding what nature and bugs and animals have to do with these wonderful women made it easier to read. So just so you know, the bugs didn't really freak me out as much as I thought they would. So see, got all the kinds of bugs and mushrooms. So leave me something foresty, I guess. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you're having a good time, if you're enjoying the videos. And until next time, I hope you live, love, and read lots of really good books, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.